Okay, I'm starting on one of the mounts for the Rotary Table project here. This thread is the same as the spindle on the Logan Lathe, 2 1/4 8 thread, and you'll see here there's a register shoulder, a register right there, and then on the inside, well, if you look at this one, you'll see there's a register and a 3/4 10 thread on the inside of that. So there's the other side. So this will spin right onto that Morse taper number 3 spindle we made for the center of the rotary table, and then the chuck will spin right onto that. Okay, so we've got a chunk of 3-inch stock in the lathe. So we got a piece of 3-inch cold rolled in here in the lathe, and when we get it faced off, and it's kind of, I already took off a little bit, but it's pretty bad. So we get faced off, and we'll start turning it. Yeah, looks pretty good for a rough off, and we're going to be drilling it through anyway for that thread and such. So I think what I'll do, I think I'll get this drilled right now, and we'll do this inside stuff first, and then we'll start doing this outside. So I got a 1/2-inch drill put in. We'll do that. Whoops. We'll drill about 1 1/4 inches, and then we'll bump it up there. Okay, at 39/64 we'll go to, and then we're going to drill 11/16 for the tap hole. At 11/16, this will give me a 50% thread. It's a little easier, and there'll be a little, maybe a little bit of looseness in the thread, but I'm using a register to center up with, so I don't mind that. And it makes it a little easier. Makes it a little easier to tap. Give it a finish cut on the face, clean it up a little bit before, and that'll be just fine. Nice. Okay, we're for about 1.25 inches. We need to take off 350,000. We need 700 total, so 350 aside. So that'll be just a rough cut. So we're gonna rough that down. I got a different tool in there. See how this cuts. A little better break in the chip. 40,000 depth of cut. Still at the 10 though. This is just roughing anyway. So I'm down to that at 2.302. I'm going to go to 2.287. So the piece is it's warm, not burning me or nothing, but warm. So I'm gonna let it cool off a little bit. Then let it cool off a little bit. Yeah, and then I'm gonna come back and bore this and get that boring done. Then get the tapping done. I'm just gonna run a tap in there. I'm not gonna single point it. And then we'll start doing the finish on the outside. We'll get it down to the 2.287, and then we'll turn this down to 2 1/4. Actually, I could probably do that now. I'll turn the threaded part down to a rough dimension also while it's still warm. And then the shoulder will be here. So then we'll come back and do all the finish turning. All right, we have about 54 thousandths to take down for the threaded part. So we should be able to do this in like 2 cuts. I already came over and marked how far we're going to go. Should be there. Let's see what we got. Thousandths under, 1,000th under. This is in incremental mode, so it's just 1,000 under, which is perfect. Yeah, 15 thousandths range on that thread, so it's a pretty big thread. So we're good there. So we have about 14.3 to come off this registered part total. So I'm going to do a couple cuts, just try to get this really accurate. Probably going to leave about hopefully half a thousandth on the big side. Give me a little bit of polish. Okay, we have about 9 to go. So there it is, 2.2882, and I measured the register at 2.2884. So we're 2/10 smaller. So I don't, until I cut the threads, I won't know if it's going to fit. But that'll give me a little bit there. I can polish and make it fit just right. Okay, so now we need to. We can either cut the threads or bore it. So I set up to bore it. I need to take off at a minimum is going to be about 150 thousandths total. So we'll do some cuts here and get things calibrated. Need to set the depth here. I'll get a dial set up. I need to go about 3/8 of an inch, 375. If it's a little deeper, it won't hurt. So, I mean, it's a pretty loose tolerance on that. Final cut. Okay, well we're about a half thousandths over, 0.7 over, so which is okay. I was allowing for about a half. That's okay because I'm okay with a half thousandths over on that. I was allowing for that tolerance, half thousand, so we're right there. So now I need to do a chamfer, and I need to thread that. Okay, some of us don't think very well sometimes, so yeah, you know, this tap is the only one I have, 3/4 10, but it's a, you know, your starting tap type. It's not a plug tap, it's a starting tap, so which is good, makes it a little easier, but I need a lot of extra room. So I just drilled all the way through this material. I didn't show it, but I just decided to drill all the way through. You know, so I'm gonna get the. It's gonna be kind of a pain. I don't know if I'll be able to do this very well with this wrench, but this is a Greenfield number 7. And when everybody shows their tap wrenches, well, I only got a few, so I don't have as many as everybody else. So this is going to take me a little while, and we'll get back to you. So I ended up having to resort to my Williams 15-inch crescent. I know Adam's showing all his big stuff. Well, I've got a couple big wrenches too. I think it's funny. Adam's showing those wrenches, those big wrenches, and man, I worked with those for 30 years. Having big wrenches like that on the ships. Every ship had them just about. We had slugging wrenches even that big. You know, 3-inch, 3 1/4 inch. Hey, this is working pretty good. Good thing I went to 50% thread, because I'd never be able to do this otherwise. I've got to do it on here. I don't have any place else to hold this sort of thing, so this much having this much torque on it. And I'm just about there. Actually, it looks like I am. So we'll spin that thing out of there. Excuse my head. I'm going to take a look, and oh yeah, plenty's tapped in there. We'll be looking golden. Matter of fact, I'm going to go grab the arbor and we'll give it a test in there. Alright, I tested the arbor, but I tested a bolt, and I need a little bit more thread in there. Just a little bit, otherwise it'll be too tight of a fit. I don't have enough thread. And if that goes in there tight, could have if it's too tight, I could have a hard time getting it out of there. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to mill some flats on that taper. So I got to knock it out of the dividing head, but if it's stuck in one of my adapters, it's going to be very difficult to get out. So maybe I'll end up doing that. Okay, so here we're going to test it. I think, let's see how it goes here. Okay, register's going in. I'm like just about 50 thousandths from seating on there. Boy, that's a nice fit. Never might be gunk in the threads there. Well, there, I'm up to the shoulder. Now, the shoulder's really below the table, on the rotary table, so if I can go to the shoulder, that's good. Wow, that's very nice fit. That's, I think we're gonna, I think we'll be dropping that. Anyway, I think we're gonna leave it where it's at. I might take some 220, just polish that, that register just a tiny bit. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it a little polish. Okay, so I polished up the inside of that bore a little bit. Still, it's really just a really nice fit. I mean, that goes in just fine. And then, I mean, I could turn it all the way to the shoulder. So that's a perfect fit. Also, I kind of screwed up. Bozoed again. I don't know what I was thinking, but so I put my counterbore stuff on the wrong side. It should be over here if I'm going to have a shoulder or thread and a shoulder over here. So I don't really need that shoulder. You know, I measured stuff again here on break, and you know, the backing plate really doesn't touch it, doesn't register it. So for what we're doing here, for this, I can allow not to have that kind of registration. Really, it's not like it's really setting it up. So anyway, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread, since it's on the wrong side. I don't really want to make another one. I'm just going to thread the whole thing, and then it will just screw down to the table, boom, seat on the table, and be good. And if I keep the threads pretty close in tolerance, which I should be able to do, it'll be fine. And we'll be fine. So, and if not, one of these days I'll just make another one. For now, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with that. But this part here came out just perfect. Couldn't ask for a better setup on that. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut our threads, and then we'll cut that off and get it machined around. I think we'll be good.